So welcome to this Advancing SharePoint Developer Community session. My name is Vesa Juvonen. I'm a Senior Program Manager from SharePoint Engineering, more specifically from SharePoint team, which is responsible of the SharePoint Framework, and all the dev APIs and all the dev documentation and all the community work as well. And my role has been within that team to actually tell you guys how to be successful on customizing SharePoint. And hopefully you are learning the right ways of doing stuff, and we'll give you guidance, and then you give us feedback, and we'll address that and all of that stuff. With me today is Erwin.
Erwin van Hune. I'm a product owner at Rancor. That's my day job, and every free minute I have, I work together with Vesa as a core team member for PnP. You might have heard me on the webcast if you attended those. Good.
So we've done the PnP session quite a few times already in Ignite. I think this is the third one. And typically what we want to do, there's always new audience and new people who have never heard about SharePoint PnP. So we kind of walk through what's available quickly. Then we'll do some cool demos. We've made some awesome announcements from a SharePoint engineering perspective this week. So we can actually show you how to integrate that, for example, your customization or remote provisioning. There's a great demo on the site designs and how to extend that with your custom logic, which is something which will be available in the future for you within SharePoint Online. Now, let's get on going on the actual content. Quickly, this is our Office 365 Vision platform requirement, always. But basically, we in SharePoint, we fall into the Office 365 platform Vision. And obviously, in SharePoint case, we talk about more around the pages and how you can customize the base and the pages and also the UI experiences in SharePoint. I'm not going to deep dive on this one, obviously, because we want to concentrate on what's the goodies available for you to be successful within your work. Now, let's start with quickly on what is a SharePoint Patterns and Practices, so that you know, if you are not aware of what the SharePoint Patterns and Practices is all about. So, SharePoint Patterns and Practices equals nowadays the whole SharePoint development ecosystem. This initiative originally started as a small grassroots effort and started providing open source examples and all of that stuff for the community using Codeplex and a few other sources. But nowadays, the PnP, first of all, it was kind of acquired by SharePoint Engineering 1.5 years ago, and the SharePoint PnP initiative now controls all of the messaging, documentation, guidance, samples, what we do in MSDN, dev.office.com, or in GitHub, and so on. So the initiative has grown a lot from the day one when we actually started the initial thinking on how to share your learnings between each other, which is obviously great. Now, the key kind of pillars, we've been thinking, how do we position the PnP? And this is really new slides. I'm trying to figure out how do I explain what is a PnP, because PnP is such a humongous amount of different things. There's a lot of stuff what we do, a lot of reusable components, a lot of documentations and samples what we provide. But there's kind of three main topics what we provide you as something what you can consume. So key point obviously is learn how to do SharePoint Framework development, all of the learning videos, all of the tutorials, all of the free training materials, what we do for the SharePoint development, which you can find from a YouTube and in a written format also in the docs.microsoft.com. Reuse has been a massive, massive deal for us from a day one. And the key point of that one is that we want to work together with community, like MVPs, like Erwin. Erwin's been there from a day one, but also other MVPs, which I can see quite a few in the audience, and non-MVPs, to build together reusable components and controls, which will increase the productivity of the developers. Because SharePoint might be, every now and then, slightly complex. It might be that you need to write quite a lot of code. Wouldn't it make more sense that we would have one library or a few libraries, or actually quite a lot of libraries, which will simplify your work. So you can concentrate on the customer-specific business requirements, and we'll give you the reusable controls, reusable components, reusable things like the remote provisioning, which you might have heard, and you will see that one today as well, in the really cool context though. But I'm not going to give it away yet.
Thank you.
Yeah. Super excited. Now, the last thing. Did I do that live?
You did.
The last thing in our key pillars is to share, and that's been really the fundamental thing of SharePoint from day one. We do this for the passion actually of sharing, so that you can be successful within your work. You don't have to share back. It's fine. We get that. You have your day job and you can't necessarily have a time to contribute back, and that's fine. We get that. Obviously, we would love people to, if they find bugs, if they find issues, they modify something, or they find a new cool thing to what they implemented, you can contribute back, and we would love you to do that. And then you get recognized in our documentation, you get recognized in our messaging in the dev.office.com blogs, as an example. And so you get some value back. We can't pay you for all of the contributions what you do, because this is open source. That would be against the whole open source ideology. But really around the sharing the learnings between each other. Because it doesn't actually make any sense to be the one guy sitting in the office and banging your head against the wall and not being able to figure out how to do X and Y and Z. There must be somebody else out there who've done exactly the same thing what I'm thinking right now. Wouldn't it make sense if there's two guys who implement a similar kind of functionality to share them, which will increase the value of the whole functionality? So we learn and we share and we build on top of the common community knowledge, rather than I'm the cool guy, I know everything, which isn't the way it's supposed to be. Obviously, we want to share, and that's the fundamental thing in SharePoint PnP. We want to share that you can be successful, and hopefully you can share back as well, which is your choice, again. Up to you, how do you want to do that? But that's really the key point of SharePoint PnP. We provide you a channel, and hopefully a channel and location and processes to learn, to share, and also reuse some of the learnings what the other people have done in the community. That's our key objective. So have a location and a channel to help you to be successful within your work, because we get you free stuff which will increase your productivity. We're not asking anything back. Anything in SharePoint PnP is free for reuse. Slides, pictures, whatever, you can just reuse them all as much as you want. So that's all good. Now, quickly looking back, it's always interesting to look back on where did we actually start. If you're not super familiar with PnP, we started actually back in 2013, which is way, way back, because it's now 2017. We started as an internal initiative. Essentially, it was me and Bert Janssen. Bert couldn't actually come to Ignite, unfortunately. We realized that we worked with the customers who are moving from on-premises to the cloud. And we started all the time implementing the exact same capabilities and patterns and practices for all of the customer projects. And then we realized that all around the world, in Microsoft Consulting Services at the time, I was a principal consultant at the time, people are banging their head against the wall on the exact same story. Why aren't we sharing that? Why aren't we building a common set of tools, common set of samples, where people can then adapt and use, and then learn from them to be successful? Then we went gradually live on Codeplex. Then marketing said, hey, you need to actually change your name to Office Dev or SharePoint Patterns and Practices. And OK, fine. Last year, we started kind of partnership, because my role and I was actually acquired by SharePoint Engineering. So I moved into the SharePoint Splat team, which owns the SharePoint Framework. And now within this year, it's more around the integration. We basically own the SharePoint PnP owns the whole development story around SharePoint. If it's a farm solution, if it's ONNET XMLs, if it's schema XMLs, come and drop by. We actually are responsible for those as well. Probably I shouldn't be doing that anymore, but trust me, I know how the ONNET XML works as well. I've been doing this for quite a few years, of working with SharePoint. Now, some of the key things we are super proud. Obviously, maybe for you, it's like, OK, so is people using these components? What about these patterns? What about the practices? Is the community actually alive? Is it something what the Microsoft people are just telling me to do, or is it actually active? So we have more than 250 or 300 samples. We don't have actually a way to count them, which is actually funny. So it's an estimate. I know exactly that we have more than 250 samples. I think later, actually, we are saying that we have 300, but somewhere in that area. On a different functionalities and samples how to do SharePoint. We had more than 29,000 unique visitors within past 2 weeks in the SharePoint organization in a GitHub. It clearly shows that SharePoint people are finally learning how to use GitHub and how to use open source and how to use the functionalities. There's some add-in stuff, there's some SharePoint Framework stuff, there's a lot of other stuff as well. We have had more than 300 contributors within all of these samples and components. So people are actually sharing. It works, yay! But it's a massive number, and obviously 300 contributors, yes, the core team like Irvin been super active, I'm active on contributing, but any contribution is valuable than nothing. We have people who fix some of the typos in the documents. That's actually super valuable as well, because guess what? My native language is Finglish. So there might be small typos every now and there.
Mine is Swinglish.
And Swinglish, yes, on Irvin's native language. No, it's a good example. So there's a lot of people who are helping us. Now, from day one, we released PnP reusable components like PowerShell and CSM extension. Those has been used in more than 20,000 tenants in SharePoint Online. And last month, we have 4.2 billion HTTP requests going through.
Yeah, I want to jump in here. Yeah. Something. I took my pocket calculator out yesterday to calculate a bit. If I just keep that 4.2 billion in context, how big is that? And if I ask you to wait 4.2 million seconds, that would be 48 days approximately. If I ask you to wait 4.2 billion seconds, that's 53 years.
So it's quite a lot of traffic.
That jumps pretty heavily. Just do the calculation. It's an insane amount, 4.2 billion.
But obviously, we are super proud of making this happen together with you. And that's the whole point. Thank you. We're not going to close the session yet, so this is not about, thank you. Okay, let's go. But thank you for your contribution on our side. You've been the people who've been helping us to make this happen. Cool. We have a lot of cool stuff to go through, and people who know me know that I always go out of time, so everyone's going to rush on the end. I do apologize. Now, let's actually talk first about the learn keys, learn step. I'm going to quickly run through some of the assets, then we move into cool demos, and then we'll close up in the end. So learning. On Friday, we released a new set of our new platform, which is now in the docs.microsoft.com/SharePoint, where we then have new development portal, which is much more polished, fine-tuned, as it was in the previous platform. From here, you can find guidance around the adding model development, REST APIs. You can find the TypeScript reference API documentation for SharePoint Framework, all the SharePoint Framework guidance, and all of that. And the simplest URL to remember is probably the AKMS SPDev docs. We are no longer in MSDN. And I do know that might be freaking out some people. It's like, what are Microsoft doing? Why are we moving away from MSDN? MSDN platform is kind of created like in 90s. So it is super not suitable platform anymore for what we want to do in the future. So all of our Azure, Visual Studio, SharePoint, everybody are now moving to this new docs.microsoft.com platform, which is showing contributors. You can easily contribute back by using GitHub, and we can have a communication much more easily on what needs to be there available as a guidance. The other great thing what we have available, which is this insane amount of content here, which is kind of surprising as well, because I had a look on the video count, and it's more than 200 videos now in our SPPNP YouTube channel. The reason why I actually quite often I spin up personally, I spin up a quick PnP short video on here. And to be honest, it's because it's much more faster for me to do a quick video recording rather than document something and to get it out in the actual docs.microsoft.com. Yes, I'm lazy, I know, but it's a resourcing challenge as well as in timing. So it's much more faster for us to spin up a 5-minute video explaining, for example, how to use tenant scope deployment in SharePoint Framework, how to add multiple components in SharePoint Framework solutions, how to use remote provisioning engines. We'll do videos, obviously, on the stuff which we demo in Ignite during next week. So you'll have a quick video for repeating what we're showing in here as well. And also, there's a lot of guidance videos, like the training tutorial videos for SharePoint Framework extensions, and all of that available in the reusable format.
And because we post those webcasts there that we do bi-weekly webcasts, and we do also every month a webcast when we do a new release of our libraries and things. And in those webcasts, we have demos from people like you that build cool solutions based on PnP code, or not PnP code, as long as they're cool solutions that can help the community, and they obviously will end up in YouTube too.
Yes, there's a lot of I can see, because I'm watching who's in the audience, there's a lot of people who actually been doing live community demos within our weekly or bi-weekly webcasts. All of those are getting recorded. They're available in the YouTube channel. It's super cool stuff. It's insanely cool stuff, some of that stuff which you've been able to do, and you're then sharing that learning and explaining how it's possible to do for others. That's super valuable. because that's how the SharePoint will be successful and will be successful together in the future. The last thing, which is not definitely the smallest thing, is our GitHub. We have the 250, 300 samples. GitHub.com SharePoint organization. A while back we moved from Office Dev organization underneath to SharePoint organization, so we control that by a SharePoint engineering effort. We have a lot of repositories here. We have like 70 different client-side web part samples, 25 different client-side extension samples, contributed by majority of them by community, for other people again in the community to learn from and reuse. It's a great way of thinking. I don't want to do that in Ignite, but if I would have to do a SharePoint Saturday session, I could actually go there, pull down the demo folder, or I would need to show somebody how extensions work. There's 25 demos out there. Just pull down, do npm install, and run. And you're good to go. You don't have to start from scratch. Great demos to learn from as well. Great technology demos. So thank you for those humongously. Absolutely super, super helpful. Now, I'm going to do a quick demo run-through of what's actually there available. So you kind of some sort of a feeling, and let's reiterate these sources. So docs.microsoft.com. We just moved here last Friday on the new platform, on this new platform. And what's important here is that this is the similar kind of platform as with Azure documentation. They've been using that for quite a long time, which means that all of the contributions, all of the people who are contributing are getting automatically acknowledged. You can easily write back and modify stuff. If you want to comment, there's a commenting functionality. If you want to do a contribution, you can actually make a pull request using the GitHub and the docs.microsoft.com native integration. And then you get actually listed as a contributor automatically in the listing, and also in the actual portal. So right now we have certain, let's say, content sets yet to be migrated here, but there's a lot of content here which is already integrated from MSDN. So the only main thing, if you're following closely SharePoint PnP initiative, we still have a separate SharePoint PnP MSDN location, but that's going to be migrated here as well. So this is the one-stop location for all of the written guidance for SharePoint. Is it a farm solution? Is it not necessarily a farm solution? Is it an add-in solution? Is it a SharePoint framework? You'll find the guidance in this one location, which should be then helpful for you in the future. Now, the other thing what I wanted to quickly show is the YouTube channel. So in our YouTube channel, we have a lot of guidance. We do have, we publish PnP webcasts. We used to do them weekly, and then we realized that that's a super, super hard thing to follow. So we're now doing bi-weekly or weekly webcasts. But there's massive amount of guidance here. How to use SharePoint Framework in a feature in on-premises. We have a video on that. How to integrate client-side properties with SharePoint. Video on that. Training materials, SharePoint Framework tutorials, getting started with SharePoint Framework videos, 25 videos. If you're looking into learning how to get started, how to get moving on the modern technologies, we have videos which are showing that in video format, and also the written format in the documentation. So you can easily take some time, 4 hours, 2 hours here and there, go through the tutorials, and then you know what I need to do in the future. And we're looking into obviously going much more detailed and much more advanced on these guidances as well. But we do acknowledge that we need to have the basics first, and then we can go and provide more advanced documentation. Now, in the GitHub, like mentioned, there's quite a few repositories here. So github.com/SharePoint. A lot of them contain samples. There's a documentation is here as well. But what I wanted to kind of quickly do is a quick demo of a simplistic sample which is super powerful related on SharePoint Framework extension. This particular one is not yet there, but it's going to be there like Monday and Tuesday next week, whenever I have time again on doing actual work. Well, this is actual work, but you know what I mean with Kai. No, anyway. So why wasn't this be work? Yeah. So let me do a quick demo. So this is a taxonomy navbar, but this is a good example of a simplistic sample which might be there. This one is a SharePoint Framework extension. And this is just demonstrating how to customize a modern experience. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do anything more than actually start the sample. Maybe I'll do a quick introduction on here. One of the things what people always ask around the Visual Studio Visual Studio Code, why can't I have an F5 experience? Because I want to have an F5 experience. Well, we're working on making these things all happening and much more streamlined for the development. But you can always do an F5 experience by clicking F5. Let me zoom there, see, F5, and do an enter. It actually is possible to do an F5 experience if my lovely computer will recognize that. There we go. Is that the F5 what you're looking for? No. Cool.
That's an add-on from PnP, by the way.
Yeah. One of the reusable components on PnP.
Exactly.
Okay. If you are familiar with the Visual Studio Code and SharePoint Framework development, you get it. If you're not yet, you'll get that one later on. So let me go to a modern team site. I have the Visual Studio Code solution running. My local host is running. There's Node running. We're not going to teach you now how to do that. We have videos on making that happen. I'm going to put a query parameter on the site just to demonstrate how we're loading now from my local host that sample. And this particular sample is doing something slightly cool or pretty cool. It actually, you can't necessarily even notice that, but what it did was it added a footer. It added a footer, a custom footer, which is a personalized footer, actually, based on the person who's actually accessing the site. And what the footer has is just links. And they could be just as well personalized links in the modern site. So if I zoom again, there's links which people can then link and click, and you will be redirected something. Quite a typical requirement, actually, for intranets and modern experiences. And now with the SharePoint Framework extensions G8 on Monday, you can actually do this in production and address your business requirements in the modern experiences, which is brilliant. Simple example, but good example of the things. Because if your customer are asking something like this, you'll go to the GitHub, you'll pull it down, you adjust that based on your customer requirements, you'll be good to go. And hopefully, customer is happy. That's what we want to provide. We want to provide you simple starting points, which you can then polish to be available within your customer deployments. Good. Let's not spend too much time there. So let's actually get back on the slides. Was it 5? Yes, it was. I found the right one. Good. We'll go back on the demos in a second. So, like mentioned, obviously, the learning is a big thing. The samples is a big thing. They're kind of a simplistic sample. Somebody might be saying that, why are these so super simple? Well, actually, they're super simple so that you don't have to be a rocket science to learn how to do SharePoint development, because you don't have to be a rocket science to do that. Some of the samples are simple. Some of the stuff where we publish is super complex, because you can actually, well, I wouldn't say intentionally complex, but if the solution requires that, it might get slightly complex as well. But one of the things what we want to do is provide you reusable components. And we have humongous amount of these reusable components. So we're not going to demo all of these, because it's just virtually impossible in 75 minutes. But quickly mentioning some of these here. Today you'll see our new initiative, which is PnP SharePoint Framework Controls. What we want to do is that every single person who's writing stuff for SharePoint Framework, they're writing UI elements in web parts. We want to provide you controls which are built by the community, which are open source, and we can together build on those same controls. We in engineering, we will actually take ideas and we will harvest our first-party web part and our first-party code to get that learnings from our first-party development, what we do in engineering, for you to reuse within your customization. We're not going to go open source with our own first-party web part, at least yet. Who knows what's going to happen in the future. But this way you get access on what our engineers are doing. People like Mark on the back, I saw you, who's actually, they're writing the actual first-party code, which is happening in the SharePoint side. So you get benefit out of those learning as well. So we use that, that's a good example. PnP PowerShell, we have a father of PnP PowerShell on the stage. Irvin is the guy who created the whole PnP PowerShell concept, and its usage is growing. It goes off the roof because it's so easy to script automations using PnP PowerShell, and you can use those also in Azure Functions. It's super simplistic way to do stuff. PnP Solutions is a good example of a new initiative which we'll announce today, well, basically now. But Mike Amelan has a session coming up on this afternoon, 45-minute breakout session for Mike Amelan. He's from our marketing guy, where we go through this reusable PnP Solutions model, which is meant to be more polished, more fine-tuned, reusable web parts and extensions for you to use as a starting point for your own implementation. A lot of our samples might be simple, but in that initiative will provide you much more polished and reused stuff. Basically, pull it down, it's ready to go for production. Awesome. You don't have to, and it's a great reference solutions as well. PnP JS Core, PnP Site Core, we're not going to mention all of these. PnP Partner Pack, GDPRP Hub, a reference solution how to build end-to-end solutions using SharePoint Framework. Brilliant stuff. That one implemented by Paolo Pialorsi, who's one of the PnP core team members. SharePoint Framework extension samples, a lot of you contributed on those. There's internal engineering people who contributed on those. Web part samples, build extensions, PnP tools. Mikael Svensson, as an example, had an awesome camel search query tool, which is now being managed and published by Mikael under the PnP tools and PnP tools branding. What we want to do is provide you the guidance. We want to provide you the channel to help you to share your learnings. If you want to do, you don't have to, and it's fine. I don't want to share anything with anybody. That's fine. People are what they are. We are different humankinds, and that's absolutely understandable. We still hope that you would actually follow up on our guidance, and you would follow up on those things, and you'd use what we have available. Because, again, it's free for you to reuse. Simple. Now, let's actually have a few examples. So we'll run through quite a lot of demos on the next section. The final one will be probably the most interesting one. Well, I'll let Irvin go from the stage, but I'll do the reusable controls in SharePoint Framework. We'll talk about that. What is that initiative? What does it actually mean? We'll talk about PnP JavaScript Core, which simplifies the SharePoint REST API access, so you don't have to even understand what is the REST API URLs. You will do pnp.web.list.givemethelist.fields, and it will actually parse the URL. Again, if you don't like that, you want to use the REST APIs, yeah, up to you. It's your choice what you want to use. But a lot of people are using the PnP JavaScript Core because it's so easy to do SharePoint development in JavaScript format using that API. I'm going to show that one in practice. The last one is super interesting, actually. This is something which I was 1.5 weeks ago, like, yay, it works. So how to extend the native out-of-the-box site designs. So on Tuesday morning, I think it was Dan Holm in the Jeff Deeper's keynote session, they explains that we have a native capability called site designs coming in a SharePoint Online. It's not quite yet available. It's going to be pretty soon. But what it actually means for developers, what is the extensibility point behind of those site designs? And there is. You can extend them. When we go live with the site designs, at least in preview or in version 1 release, capabilities are pretty limited. But there's an extensibility point. And quite often, people then use models and processes like PnP provisioning engine to extend the available capabilities. Now, let's actually have a look on these things. So I'm going to flip back on my computer. And let's start with a PnP reusable controls. So let me go quickly in this browser, and let me quickly pinpoint the new repositories which we have available. Elio Struif have been helping us significantly on this one to get started. The idea of this one is that we get additional people involved, additional team involved, and we work together on designing and getting those controls then evolving within the future. But if you search for SPDefFX controls React, that's the repository name right now in a GitHub. We'll link all of this in our documentation immediately when I get back from Orlando, back to home, and we can update all of our guidance. But what this one is providing as an example, and I'll quickly show this from a UI perspective first, and then I'll show a demo. We will start with 4 reusable controls. 4 reusable controls like the list view. And the whole point of this one is that you just provide the list of items to the list view, and it works as easy as possible. Or functionalities or control like the placeholder control. Originally in the SharePoint Framework release candidate or previous version, we actually had this available. The reasons are another, it's not available from the SharePoint Framework, but now we provide the capability available for you using the PnP reusable SharePoint Framework controls. And you can easily use this. Essentially, you get a consistent look and feel. All of this is using Office UI Fabric, but it's more SharePoint aware. Good example of a SharePoint aware things in these controls is the property pickers. So we work together, for example, with Oliver as my head goes blank. Who has been creating property controls also in the past. But what we want to do is provide these web part property controls for you to easily reuse in your implementation, which are packed by SharePoint engineering. So with this way, you don't need to worry about, hey, okay, what's the URL, or how do I get access on the term store terms? We actually make that for you. You don't need to worry about the URLs. You don't need to worry about the list REST APIs and APIs which needs to happen. You'll just configure the control within your web part, and voila, it actually works. And sure, you can always go back on the GitHub and have a look on how does it actually work behind the scenes if you're interested. But this will simplify your development. It will increase, again, your productivity. That's what we want to do with SharePoint PnP. Now, let's have a quick demo on this one. So I'm going to flip on one of my open demos. And this apparently is running. So let me actually close that. And let me do, oh, this is not the solution what you're looking for. OK, thank you. Moving to the next one. PnP controls. Here we go. Now we're in the right one. Way too many items open. So what I'm going to do is simply I'm going to show you the functionality, and then we'll get back here and we'll modify slightly the control settings, and you can see the value of these controls as well. So we're going to do a call serve. Well, actually, in this case, I could do F5. Yeah. F5. Mm-hmm. F5 experience. So, or call serve would be what's the F5 actually doing. So that starts serving. It has mock data. It's now hosted in the local workbench. This is a demo web part which is using those controls. But let's actually also look on that one in the context of a live SharePoint site. But there's a PnP controls. It's that one on a page. If it hasn't been configured, you can use the placeholder control. If I click that one, you can see the pickers, and these are aware of the connectivity on the SharePoint. Or if you want to have a look on the taxonomy, you can scan on the taxonomy. This isn't that interesting because this is using mocked data. But let me actually flip back on the real SharePoint site. So let me go, for example, in here. Let's get rid of the query parameters from the URL. And there we go. And let me go to workbench. If I can write. Writing has always been a really difficult thing for me, and math. So let's go here, and now we have a small caching issue. So let me actually fix that one. So I'm going to do this is when you do a development with SharePoint Framework, every now and then stuff is getting cached on your browser. You can do reset equals true, and poof, it will clean up the cache if you have ever actually run into this small issue. So let me double check that one. Let me request reset equals true is fine. So let me request the page without the query parameters, and we can see the web part being executed in the context of SharePoint Online, hosted from my own premises, and we can actually see the the configurations in a much more nicer way. So in my case, I'm actually in a wrong site, which I was planning to use. So let me quickly jump there. This doesn't take luckily that long. So I'm going to go to the team site because there's an existing list which I prepared for this one, which is then easily doable or presentable. Workbench. Underneath that site context, there's my web part already waiting. If I do edit in the select a list, I can select the list. In my case, I have files into documents. This is a non-reactive web part panel, so I need to click apply. That's intentional for this implementation. But now it's automatically already listing the items from the document library. Quite a typical scenario, but it's now consistent. Now, what's more interesting probably for many of you is the taxonomy picker. So I can actually now open up my taxonomy picker. I can extend my taxonomies. And by the way, this has been tested, for example, in MSIT, essentially in our Microsoft taxonomy store. And it's still pretty fast. It was actually pretty amazing to see, because obviously Microsoft has pretty big taxonomy. So it was still absolutely usable from that perspective. And now I can select the values in here. Right now it's configured to only select the one value. So let's select the Paris. Let's close this one and apply. That's going to select the items or that taxonomy available. Now, What's interesting about the controls is that you can then change the implementation or the configuration of the controls, and that's really the key point of this one. So the taxonomy term, the term picker in this case, you don't need to worry about where the terms are coming. We'll take care of that for you. The terms are coming from the taxonomy store, which is associated to the site. Classically, if you've done a SharePoint Framework implementation, you've been the person who has to know the URLs, the REST URLs, hit them, and then you use Office UI Fabric React controls to render that stuff up. Now we increase the abstraction. We use still the Office UI Fabric React components, but you don't even need to know where the taxonomy set is coming, because it comes from the taxonomy store associated to the site. That's pretty logical. And the implementation is consistent. And now we can easily also change. Let me slightly increase the font. These settings. So as an example, allow multiple selections. I don't need to do anything more than add true there. It's going to recompile now immediately that implementation or the web part. I can see that one in here. That looks fine. It didn't cause any exceptions, which is understandable. Now it's recompiled. I can actually go to the site. Let's do a Control F5 reload. So we can see the change of a behavior in the implementation. So now if I go to the web part, if I open up the taxonomy picker, I can actually select multiple taxonomies just by flipping the one bit. And if that doesn't increase your productivity, what will? Because you can, right? Isn't it cool? Cool. But right now, like mentioned, we've went through some of these controls. There's not a massive amount of these controls. What we wanted to do is start with a 4.5 reusable controls or content controls and 4.5 property pane controls. And we'll keep on evolving this. Like mentioned, we're going to use the first-party web parts and our first-party code to harvest some of the ideas. If you have ideas, if you are willing to contribute us back, you're more than welcome to join. Do pull requests, have a discussions, reach out. Let's try to figure out how to evolve this together forward. Because isn't it much more better that we have a one community effort for creating reusable controls which are consistent, rather than every one of you or many of you have to re-implement the same stuff all over again and again and again. Now, if somebody's saying, yeah, but my company doesn't support, we can't do open source. What are you Microsoft people doing? It is insane. Not a problem. Go to the GitHub, download the code, and use that directly by yourself. That's a suitable option as well. That's not then open source, because you download that, you take responsibility of the code. We keep everything for you for free. We're not asking anything to get back within the stuff that we're sharing. Good. The other example, what I quickly wanted to do, just checking the clock. Yeah, we have plenty of time. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. See, I'm learning.
Yeah. Yeah. They can't breathe, but
yeah, they can.
So
oh, you mean? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Excited. Now, let's move to another sample. So I'm going to actually close this one. Oh, that was taxonomy bar. Let me actually close that one because that gets on popping on my screen. So this is the other one, which we just had a look on the controls. So let me actually close that one as well. On the controls, just quickly pinpointing this one, we have a new scope where we are releasing these scopes as well. So you can easily reference, for example, the property controls using the @PnP SPFX property controls. And you might be thinking that, wait, what is this @PnP? Well, we thought about how do we want to do a modern development in the future within the SharePoint context. We want to publish quite a lot of packages. This is just the start. We have a lot of ideas what we want to actually provide here. But we need to have a scope which is understandable. We can't publish this stuff under the Microsoft scope because this is not Microsoft stuff. This is open source community stuff. We can't use the SharePoint scope either. So we were able to acquire, so to say, the PnP scope by, well, technically the guy was super helpful who owned that, and we gave him then a bottle of red wine as a present for that one. Or Paolo did. I don't know if Paolo is actually in the room. Thank you, Paolo, for that. Good. But you can find more and more packages at the PnP scope in the future. We'll get add in additional components, additional stuff here. Then you can easily add them in your modern web stack development and start using your the reusable components within your implementation. I will mess up the timing because I keep on jumping. So I do apologize. I already, actually, 2 minutes before we started the session, I apologize, Erwin, that I will go long. So anyway. So let's actually close this one. I'm going to close that one, so I'm not going to actually get that one confused on the other stuff. So let's move into the PnP scope, the PnP scope and the PnP JavaScript core side. The font is pretty high, but a key point here is that what we're using in this particular web part, or this particular extension, we are using how to import, or we are importing the new PnP JavaScript core location, or the PnP JavaScript core package. We're moving the stuff now to the PnP scope in the npm, and we're polishing and optimizing those packages so you don't, it's not too big. You can just only reference what's relevant for you and use what's relevant for you. But you might think that, hey, wait a minute, what is that PnP package? And you might not be super aware of this, and how does it actually work? So this one, typically when you do client-side development in SharePoint Framework, you need to write and know URLs, REST URLs of SharePoint. How do you know those REST URLs? Is, well, unfortunately, quite often by guessing, because our documentation isn't that good, and I do apologize on that. We're trying to work that. But what the PnP.js core actually is doing for you, it gives you a fluent way of accessing the SharePoint information. So I can do sp.web.apply theme, or sp.web.lists, get by ID, or let's say get by a list, get by a title, and fields, and so on. So it is JavaScript, or it's TypeScript in this case, but it is actually hiding the requirement of you understanding the REST APIs. Sure, if you know them, you can absolutely use the REST APIs. But using this one, if you're a classic, let's say, managed code developer, you come from a C# background or a Visual Basic .NET background, which I never met those guys, but if you are, come and say hi after the session. But this one absolutely, sorry for that bad joke. This one absolutely will help your life to get easier. Because this is almost like C# development. You are in TypeScript, which looks like a C#, and then you have this fluent API to access information. Sure, like mentioned, if you don't like this, yeah, you don't have to do that. It's an option for you. But it should help you to be successful. And even the guys in the community calls who are super into the modern web stack development, they've said that, well, after a while they were hitting the REST APIs, everything else, and that's cool. But then they have a look on this, and this is super easily usable. We did have some challenges around the package size, and that's why we are now optimizing all of that. So the package size, the bundle sizes are optimized so that the JavaScript size won't be that big, even though you would be using this one in your implementation. Good. So I'm not going to actually concentrate or do a live demo on that one, but let's actually do another one on the same context. So this one is slightly more complex demo. It is actually available from our PnP samples. So I'm going to do collab serve from here. And this one is using Knockout. So it's actually using a slightly more polished UI. It's not a super sexy, let's say, UI, because we're not marketing people. That's the key difference between the development sessions and the marketing session. Maybe we should spend some time with the marketing for polishing stuff up as well. But that's now running. And let me actually jump on this side. Let me actually reload the page. Let's get rid of that one, because I want to show the other web part here as well. And then we can quickly have a look on the code. How does it actually do that? So this one is slightly more complex implementation using the SPPnP.js library. And it has a UI to do CRUD operations. So if I add that web part to this page, there's my SPPnP.js core. You can actually see that it is in page, and in a second, it's actually flipped. What it did was that it created 4 items to a list and dynamically created the list to the side. Now, that's not really what we want to demo, because there is a potential performance permission issue if you approach this, if you do this within your web part. What if the end user doesn't have permissions to create a list? But this is a great sample to demonstrate the usage of the SPPnP JavaScript. So let me show you that one in practice. Obviously, the implementation is fluent. It's this one. So let's add here item 4, some number, and click add as well. You can easily see that to be added on the list. Actually, what happens is that the items are getting replicated to the list. So if I go to the team side, it actually created the list dynamically. Like mentioned, not a best practice, definitely not something what you should be doing in production, because what if the end user doesn't have permissions to create lists? You would have a potential challenge. But it created a list for the site and making that happen. But the key point what I wanted to point here is really the simplicity again of using the SharePoint PnP JS core library. So if I open up, is it this one? No, let's close that one. All the time opening up a wrong guy. If I open up the code, so let me resize this stuff and let me actually hide that one and scroll that one down as well. So what happens when we put the web part on the site, it actually started looking, let me scroll back all the way up. So it actually started getting the items from the list. Because it didn't have, or it does execute the ensure list, which is an internal method. If I press F12 with the functions option, we can see what's actually happening in here. It is a promise-based implementation. It's make sure that we have this custom list available. If it's not available, it's this ensure method will make sure that it's available. So you, as again, and if we would need to obviously check the permissions, but you as a developer, you don't need to worry about how do I get the list there. The list is actually getting available just by using the insert method. Or the batching. Batching in JavaScript is actually, the classic REST batching is super, super hard. With PnP.js core, you say PnP sp web create a batch. Then you do operations. In this case, we're adding few items in a batch to the, or executing these. You don't, again, need to understand the ins and outs of SharePoint. It's pretty understandable code. And then we do batch execute. And voila, that's one call to the SharePoint side, executing multiple commands, and those items are getting created on the site. So super, super cool library. It's really well documented. So Patrick Rogers is leading this effort under the PnP umbrella, so under the overall PnP initiative. And Patrick has done an awesome job on explaining and driving the actual technical implementation on this one. Obviously, we'll make decisions on what we're always doing all together in the PnP core team. Now, the last thing on this one, just checking time, all good?
We did last
so. Is that we're looking into doing similar kind of things also with graph. And this is actually pretty interesting. So you do not need to, let me actually close that. Oh, let me stop that. Stop it. There we go. So what we're looking into doing is the PnP graph operations as well. So in this case, and this is work still in progress. We are syncing together with SharePoint engineering and graph engineering. How do we want to make this happen? But it's a fluent API in TypeScript to access also graph APIs. There is an awesome session coming up today with Luca and Paolo, where we'll talk about, from a SharePoint engineering perspective, how do you add additional scopes to be available through graph easily for SharePoint Framework and your client-side development. Don't miss that. That's a great session. Luca is on the front row together with my manager, and now I got scared. But this is a good example of the direction, what we're looking into, and this is kind of a mock-up or beta solution. But also in here, if I do call observe, my manager is such a scary-looking guy, so yeah. So after the session, you'll see. So I'm going to start again the solution or implementation. I'm going to move into a live site. I'm going to refresh or reload this one. And like you could see maybe in the code, we're doing pnp.graph.v1 group select display name and a description. So essentially we're loading all of the graphs which I have access, or groups which I have access, easily using a Fluent API, super easily approachable. You know exactly what happens there. You don't need to understand the REST API of the graph. That's again really the power in here. If I add the web part in here, we can see that it's actually scanning those groups. It is hitting the graph endpoint, which is being exposed using the graph client. And hopefully in a second, it's loading. Come on, Microsoft Graph. I'm not going to take responsibility of this one. Definitely not. No. It's not mine. No. You're on localhost. Am I in localhost? Thank you. Awesome. How did I?
Local graph?
Here we go. I went to the wrong UI. I'm still in a local host. Let me get to the right location. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Thank you from the front row. I will owe you a beer or whatever. What is your preferred drinks after the session? So demo, so groups, let me do that. Now I'm in the context of SharePoint, so we can actually get the information available, and it's accessing the groups data using the Graph API. Again, using that simplistic, fluent API and access point, which everybody can understand. You don't need to understand the REST calls and what happens underneath. You'll just do a PnP, graph, v1, and groups. Give me what I need, and you're good to go. Super cool. Now, I think now it's time to go to our hopefully the coolest ever demo. So let's actually flip on slightly the gear. So I've been showing now client-side development, and obviously, Irving goes there. On Tuesday morning, we mentioned, or Dan Holm demonstrated the site designs. There's quite a few names internally which we use for that, but apparently it is called site design. The question with site designs is that they are essentially actions which are getting applied on a site after the site has been created. So if you're familiar with the remote provisioning techniques, which personally I've been promoting for years, this is kind of a similar kind of model. You create a site, out-of-the-box site, and then you apply actions on top of it. So you don't break the sites by using something evil like site definitions or web templates and so on. We're not going to deep dive on why that thing is evil. Trust me, it's super evil. I know. So, in this demo, we're going to first look on the PnP PowerShell. PnP PowerShell is a brilliant thing. You might be thinking, hey, this is a developer session. Why are you showing PnP PowerShell? But actually, it's a great development tool as well. Because if you need to achieve and modify your existing SharePoint sites, you can easily script stuff. I think it was Mikael Svensson, who's one of the MVPs. He had an awesome demo where he had a real enterprise end-to-end deployment done using PnP PowerShell. Why? Because he can easily go and modify the implementation in a matter of seconds without opening anything else and recompiling, redeploying. It's script, so which makes the whole thing super, super easy. And now the PnP PowerShell does use in the background, it uses some REST APIs, all of that, so it's encapsulating all of the complexity of what's happening. Right. But I'll let Irving to actually to demo. Yes, I'm trying to. Right. I'll be here. Quiet.
So what you see on the screen is PowerShell, and this is actually the only blue screen in Windows that makes me happy. It's always very comforting to see this screen. So PnP PowerShell is over 240 commandlets that you can use to do all kinds of things. Now you wonder, like, why does PnP have a commandlet library? There's also one from SharePoint Online. They are actually complementing each other. The ones that you get from Microsoft, the SPO commandlets, they are more on administrative tasks, creating sites, adding users, those kind of things. Where the PnP commandlets are more talking about artifacts, creating lists, items in lists, adding a field, removing a content type, those kind of things. More developer focused in a way, you could say, but then in an easy to script PowerShell way. So just like the ones that you get with the SharePoint Online Management Shell, you have to build up a connection to the site. And I'll do that right now.
Double checking the back row can see, or do we need to increase the font? All good?
Is it all good?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we tried to check it out before we
Okay, so Vesa forced me to use a Finnish keyboard, so I will make typos. There we go. Okay.
I aim to please.
Thank you. Yeah, still find those. Yeah. And I made a typo actually. And I see what I did there. HTTPS. So you saw the prompt, the authentication prompt. It will obviously you need to authenticate against the environment, but you can set up your environment in such a way that it will actually use the credentials from your Windows Credential Manager, which is ideal in scripting environments. Because if you want to write a script, you want to run it unattended or scheduled. You don't want to authenticate, and what you absolutely should not do is put your passwords in your PowerShell scripts. Never. So let me connect to this site. So it's building up a connection now to the site. It was pretty fast. And now I have full access to all the artifacts in that site. So for instance, if I want to see all my lists in there, I can do get PnP list. There's new PnP list, get PnP field, show me all the fields in the site collection, add PnP field, create content type, etc. As I said, there's 240 commandlets there, and they do basically everything you can think of. As long as it's supported in CSAM, we have it most likely in PowerShell. It's open source, you can look at the code, how we do things, and if you miss something, create a new commandlet. It's not actually that complex. Now, if I go back to my site here, and there's another thing bugging me, that's my age. There's a very small screen, and I try to figure out what I'm looking at.
You're getting old.
Thank you. Old. Yeah, I hope I do. Here's the site, and this is just an out-of-the-box modern theme site, nothing specific here. So if I go to pages here, you see the list of pages that you get there. And I'm going to create a new client-side page from PowerShell. Add PnP client-side page. Has a name, and I'm calling it one Thursday. Creates a new client-side page. Done. Page is now available in my library. So if I reload here, there's my Thursday page. There's nothing on there yet. So what I will do is create a section on the page. PnP client-side page section. Page Thursday. Section template. 1 column, 2 column, whatever you want. I go for 1 column. And now I can add a PnP client-side client. And you can tab through it. Web part. On which page? Thursday. There's no completion there. Thursday. Default web part type, Bing map. So I'm adding a Bing map web part to the first section of the page. And if I go to the page now and load this, there's my Thursday page with my Bing map on it. This makes it very easy to build provisioning scripts. You can put parameters in there, connect to the correct site, do things, add sections, add web parts to other sections that are already there, go crazy. Very simple. Now, next step is if you want to define this into sort of a template concept. And that's where the PnP provisioning engine comes in. And that one is already pretty old. We introduced it in 2015.
2015.
Yes. 15 already, yes. Yeah. And it went
2.5 years.
And it went through basically monthly iterations, the functionality. We updated our schema behind the scenes. So several times, and the latest schema came out 2 months ago. And the way it works, the PnP provisioning engine, which is part of a library called PnP Sites Core. That is our core library of CSAM calls, where we extend CSAM with all kinds of functionality, including the PnP provisioning engine. And PowerShell, as it taps into PnP Sites Core, has that functionality built in. So there's nothing for you to install. As long as you install the PnP commandlets, you're done. You have the PnP provisioning engine. So if I have a look at that template, and I should have a copy here. What was it called? Welcome Ext there. There we go. Wow, this is big. Okay, so the PnP template is XML format. If you insist, you can use JSON.
You can serialize the site as a JSON as well.
Yeah, but to quote Scott Hanselman, JSON is XML for hipsters. So we thanks, Scott. So we went for XML as our main format, effectively. But yeah, we do support, if you really insist, JSON. So the format of if you've been working with site definitions in SharePoint, like on-prem site definitions, own it XML, you know, the file of horror, you might this looks very similar. It does look in a way similar, and we do actually reuse some of the XML. For instance, when it comes to fields, if you create a field definition, there's just a field XML you paste in here. There's nothing specific that we have our own add-ons there. It's just a standard field XML. But everything that starts with the PnP namespace is custom. We built that. And this allows you to provision lists, fields in lists, content types, set default column values, add managed metadata, or upload managed metadata to your managed metadata service. It allows you to whatever you basically can do with the PnP code, we allow you to do that with the provisioning engine. And one of the things it allows you to do also is to create client-side pages. So here in this template, you see here that I create a home page, and I set the welcome page of the site to the home ASPX, and then I create a new client-side page here with the page name home ASPX, and I overwrite the existing one if it's already there, and then I add a section to it. And it's a 1-column section, and in there I add a control and basically my web parts in there, and all the configuration of those web parts are in there. Now, you could write this from scratch, if you insist, but it's actually much easier to just ask the engine, hey engine, can you give me a template from that existing site? And it does that. So there is a command that get PnP provisioning template, connects to the site collection, extracts a template for you, and you just take away what you don't need. That's the easiest way to go forward. And then there is a scenario even where you could consider if you want to use the PnP provisioning engine where the site becomes a template. So you have somewhere a site collection and that is your template. And when you create a new site collection, you extract the template from that site and you immediately apply it to the newly created site. So understand that the provisioning engine does not create site collections. It doesn't do that. You will have to create the site collection by whatever means you choose to create that site collection. But the moment it's there, you apply the template to it. So if I take this,
and by the way, Irvin, it doesn't also extract, it doesn't extract content. You can
it does not
content.
extract content. Yeah, don't think of the PnP provisioning engine as a content migration tool. It's not. We do not do content, with the exception of the homepage. There is basically when we start to go into the content story, you open a can of worms. Which is like if you're provisioning content to a site and it has security applied to it, then is that user available in the other site collection, etc. There are other products out there that are better at that. So we decided not to go there. This one is focusing on artifacts. So we have the template here, and I connect to a different site here. I will connect to my, there we go, Ignite 2 site, which I have here. Here. Navigate to that one. I'll show you again. It's blank. Standard site. Nothing specific there. I'm connected.
It's a modern site. It is a modern group site.
Yeah, I'm always starting to call that already a standard site, but it's a modern site. Yeah. Apply PnP provisioning template, and then it's welcome. And what it does right now, it connects to the site. And it's actually doing something that we call delta handling. So it tries to figure out if an artifact that you're provisioning to the site is already present in the site. And it does that in both ways, when we extract data from a template from a site and when we apply a template to a site. And it will figure out if it's there, and if it's there already, it will modify it. For instance, it will never override things. That's an absolute thing, unless you specify it. Some of the artifacts in the template you can say override true. Then we will override it. But by default, it will not override things. It will also then check, for instance, if a document library is already present and you have the same document library in your template, but you have a different field, it will add that field to the existing document library. So that's how the delta handling works.
That was super fast, by the way, the execution.
That was almost too fast.
Yeah, too fast.
Let's have a look if it worked.
What happened?
It updated the site.
And there's the site now. Awesome. There's few specific things which I want to point out on this one, because it is a modern site. It's a group site. It's a modern welcome page of the site. We have a third-party web part in there, which is the Tudo web part on the right side. We have a custom welcome page, which is saying welcome Contoso. Plus, we do have a SharePoint Framework extension, Mark. So on the side as well, and on the page. So now if you move across the pages on the side, that extension, which is the footer, the blue area on the below, which isn't super visible, that's there across the site as well. And based on, because we applied that properly using the templates in the XML template in this case.
Right, so now this is all manual work. You saw me first running a couple of commandlets. You saw me execute the apply PnP provisioning template. Now we go one step further. Now what I'm showing you here is currently not available, that will come. This is based on the site designs. So if I create a new site collection here.
And by the way, Irvin, Son Squires is on the back row, so no pressure. He owns the site designs.
Okay.
So he can wave from there.
All right, if it breaks. So, creating a new modern team site. And what you see here is the designs I can pick. So I pick here the Contoso Travel Focus project and create a name. And we are in Orlando, and I have to come up with a good name. We're traveling to.
No, take your time. It's okay.
Lapland.
No rush.
No. slower? Yeah, okay. Lapland in May 2018. That's where we're going. Lapland is an area in the northern part of Scandinavia.
It's in Europe. So.
That's also, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. So far, this is still standard. This is what you will get with site designs. Click next. It's a modern site, so the creation of the site itself is actually blazingly fast. Remember the time that you had to wait like 15 minutes for a site collection to be created? Gone are those days.
It's already done. It's great.
So the site is already created right now. Now I click finish, and page reloads, and now you see the site design kicking in there on the right-hand side. And what it does, it creates a couple of lists, and it creates a couple of columns in those lists, basically, and it applies a theme. But if you look at the third action here, this is where the magic comes in. It also triggered a Microsoft flow. And that's where the magic is. So if I go to that flow right now, this is the flow, and I added the flow, and I'll show you what's in the flow. Flow is easily simple. Actually, that second item there, the create item, that's just for demo reasons, you don't need that. It's actually the last one, to put a message on a queue. So if we look in the queue here, and go in there, what happens here? Can you please open there? We receive the URL of the site collection that we just created, and that was sent into the flow. And what we do with that URL, we post it to an Azure storage queue. We just put the URL in the queue. That's the only thing we do. Just dump it in the queue.
And now, Erwin, before you go to the, you can go to the queue. I'm just going to reiterate on the flow. Obviously, in this case, we wanted to have an extensibility point. So we're adding an item to the storage queue, and so that we can actually do magical stuff in Azure, because that's pretty cool. But you can do whatever else in the flow as well. So if you have a business processes, if you have actions, you can modify the flow as big as you want. There might be steps, multiple step actions, branching on the flow, and all of that. And that's really the beauty of the process as well. So you have all the power in the flow for your usage whenever the site collection is getting created. In this case, though, we wanted to concentrate on the extensibility point, because we wanted to have the custom welcome page, in the same way as Erwin demonstrated, applied automatically to the site when the site is getting created.
Correct. So this is the function. There's a function that basically kicks in the moment a message is posted in that queue. And this function, well, you recognize there's a similar command list as I entered. It picks up the URL from the queue. Then it says connect PnP online, and we use app ID and app secret here to connect to. And then we apply a PnP provisioning template in line 13.
It's actually mind-blowing. It's 2 lines of code. So you put us the message to the storage queue fires an Azure function, because there's a PowerShell with Azure function which has been configured to get fired whenever a message goes to the queue. Then we have 2 lines of PnP PowerShell, which, behind of that is hundreds of thousands of lines of code. Well, yeah. A lot of code. But simplicity for you, again, to reuse, so you can be successful within your project. 2 lines of code. Connect back on the SharePoint, the site which we just created, apply a template. And now, hopefully, it works.
So let's go back to the site that we have created. Let's see if we can find it. Where is it? There, Lapland. So click finish. Page loads, reloads the page, and there we go.
Yay!
So with these flow extensions, the sky is the limit. You can do anything, as long as you just call PnP PowerShell. Then whatever you want to do.
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not only PnP PowerShell. Let me get that
yes.
straight. Yeah.
It is your baby, I know. But that's fine.
So it is. It's an amazing way of extending out-of-the-box functionality. No need to build up complex infrastructures, and then gradually it could be that, looking at Sean, that site designs will be expanding and that will be more functionality. Yeah. And then just take it away from your template. If it's already there in the site design, take it away. From what I understand, site designs are based on JSON, aren't they?
JSON definitions to a tenant level, which are the actions, and one of the actions is then call a flow. It will be available for preview in a few weeks. I will work with Sean on the documentation and guidance and making sure that you can repeat exactly what we did today in here to follow up on our videos and tutorials, and you can then demonstrate how to make this happen. Cool.
That was it for me.
Good. So let's actually close up on the few slides. We want to go through the final, let's say, the bullet thingy in here, which was around sharing. So obviously you've seen the reuse option, you've seen that we're sharing a lot, because we want you to be successful. But obviously, if you want, you can also participate. You can share against and back for the community as well. We do have basically we have a weekly community calls for community demos where we demonstrate and tell, for example, the latest on SharePoint Framework. Today there would have been a call. I don't know if Patrick actually took the call or if he canceled. He's on parental leave, which is slightly difficult because we're in Ignite. So I can't do this session at the same time and tell the latest on SharePoint Framework in the call. But what we do is bi-weekly we have a special interest group call on SharePoint Framework and JavaScript development, bi-weekly on PnP PowerShell and general SharePoint development. So it's every single week on Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. I do apologize if there's Pacific time people in the room. It's super difficult to find one time which will suit everybody. Why aren't there just one time zone across the world? It would be so easy.
Yeah.
Simple solution. Come on, guys. But anyway, there's multiple ways of contributing back. Participate on the calls. Go to our SPP, AKMS, SPPnP URL. There's additional assets available. How to join to the calls. We have monthly calls where we go through everything what has happened within the SharePoint development within the past month. The guidance, the videos, the samples which are going out. If you go to dev2devs.com/blogs, we'll release a monthly blog posts where we explain who has contributed. We give you credits. We even go to the level of, if you give us your permissions, we can show your logo in our communications. But I will need to get an explicit permission to do so. These are the companies who contributed, or the people who have been working on these companies during this year, who've been closely involved within the initiative. They contributed on our work. There's a lot of companies there. Have I missed somebody? Anyway, because there's a lot of, I'm looking at Alex, and now I feel bad because, anyway. SharePoint list is missing from the slide. I do apologize on that. Alex being super active on the community side as well. But there's a lot of companies, a lot of people involved in this initiative, helping, showing demos, contributing samples, and keeping other people successful within their work. Again, up to you. Do you want to do that? If you have time, if you have availability. We started the whole initiative actually by working on evenings and weekends because we wanted to help other people. But we are just different kind of human beings, maybe. I don't know. It's up to you if you have time. I don't have any friends, so I actually spend time on the computer.
He's from Finland.
Yes, I'm a Finn, so
they don't do friendship.
Yes, I'm not a social guy at all.
No.
Now, so the three things which you should remember from the session. Learn, reuse, share. All of the SharePoint stuff we want to give you for free. You can use it any way you want, which is in the GitHub. You can use our presentations, our documentations, our samples, learn from them, get some time, walk through the tutorials, the videos. If we're missing something, please tell us. We want to help you to be successful on SharePoint development.
If you fix a bug, and there are bugs, if you fix a bug, please give it back to us.
Oh yeah, that's a good point as well.
Please.
On the reusable controls and PowerShells, please, if you fix a bug within your branch or whatever, please tell us, and we'll fix it for other ones as well. Yeah. Because it feels bad that somebody comes and said, yeah, I found a bug and I fixed it, all fine for myself. Okay, that's your choice. That's fine. It's, again, your choice. How do you want to share your stuff back? AKMS SPPnP is the one address to remember. We have video links, all of the other links. It will be redesigned pretty soon. Right now, it's a pretty hectic page. But we'll work on getting it more clear to find easily the assets that are available. But let's close with our, let's say, slogan on the PnP we've been doing for years already. Sharing is caring, and hopefully you have a lovely and awesome end of the conference.
One more thing, sorry.
Oh.
I said just one more thing.
One more thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean there's not announcing something, but if you have questions, we'll probably hang out a bit more here.
Yes.
But we also have a booth. So if you go to the Modern Workplace area in the Expo, Microsoft Modern Workplace, we have a booth there.
Yes.
PnP booth. We share the booth with the Office UI Fabric. Don't be confused. It's not SharePoint PnP Office UI Fabric. That's not a thing. It's basically two people, two groups sharing one booth. But we have a booth there, and we'll be there all day.
If you want to see, if you want to see any of the demos, if you have questions on the demos, if you have questions on any of the components, go to the Expo area, find us from there. We have people there for the whole day. But have a great end of the Ignite. Hopefully you'll find this interesting. Hopefully the PnP is opening and giving you value as well. And if you have any questions, drop by in the front. I think we are hitting pretty much the hour, so we won't have an open Q&A session. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for your contributions.
Thank you.